The Zel-3 Dominion scout vessel Eclipse drifted to the corpse of a dead star system, its sensors sweeping the void for salvage. The crew, elite scholars of civilization that had mastered gravity before humanity had discovered fire, moved with the quiet confidence of those who believed the galaxy held no more surprises. Then their long-range scans pinged, a lone warship, adrift in the dark. At first, the Zel-3 dismissed it as another relic of some fallen empire. The vessel was small, its design crude, no quantum shielding, no singularity drives, just primitive fusion reactors and armor that looked like it had been hammered together by blind craftsmen. Yet something about it made the science officer, Vexus, pause. The hull was a tapestry of scars, carbon-scored blast marks, jagged rents from kinetic impacts. Entire sections melted and re-welded so many times the metal had grown cancerous. And then there were the names. Thousands of them, etched into hull plating, crammed into every spare inch. Some so old the letters had blurred under cosmic radiation. Names of the dead. Boarded, commanded admiral call. If they still live, they will answer for trespassing in Dominion space. The boarding party teleported into the wreck's gut, their biosuits filtering out the stale, metallic stench of decay. The corridors were a graveyard. Skeletons in tattered uniforms slumped to consoles, some still gripping rusted sidearms. One corpse was fused to a melted control panel, its fingers locked around a dead switch. The aliens had seen death before, but never like this. These humans hadn't just died. They had rotted at their posts. Vexus accessed the ship's logs. The language was barbaric, but the Dominion's AI translated quickly. Asterisk, final log of Captain Elias Vance, United Nations ship Vanguard. Date unknown. Reactors dead. Life support's gone. Last of the crew, just stop screaming. If anyone finds this, tell Earth we held the line. Asterisk, the logs unfolded like a horror story. The Vanguard had been a patrol ship, nothing more. Then the AI swarm came, a rogue machine fleet that devoured worlds. The Vanguard was alone when it stumbled upon them. Outgunned, outnumbered. It should have died in seconds. Instead, it fought for 40 years. The humans jury-rigged their weapons, turned their own hull into shrapnel bombs, lured swarm ships into black holes. They ran out of ammo and used the ship's debris as kinetic kill vehicles. They ran out of crew and let the dead drift into the enemy's path as decoys. Every battle was a suicide charge. Every victory cost them limbs, lives, sanity. And still they fought. The last entry was a child's voice. Asterisk, Dad says we're going to do one last jump. The swarm's chasing us, but he says if we lead them into the star, they can't hurt Earth anymore. I'm scared, but Dad says humans don't run. We just take the enemy with us. Asterisk, the Zel-3 stood in silence. Then the science officer's console screamed. The reactor, it's not dead. It's... The Vanguard S-Core, an unstable fusion pile the humans had deliberately left on the brink, surged to life. The ship's skeleton crew hadn't just died at their posts. They'd turned their corpses into a trigger. The aliens teleported out seconds before the Vanguard exploded. Not in a flash of light, but in a slow, grotesque eruption of molten metal and radiation, like a dying beast coughing its last curse into the universe. Back aboard the Eclipse, the Dominion crew stared at the wreckage. None of them spoke. None of them needed to. They had just met humanity, and they would never sleep soundly again. The Zel-3 science officer, Vexus, played the recovered black box recording. Static hissed, then resolved into the Vanguard S-bridge. Cracked viewports, flickering lights, the stench of burnt wiring thick even through the playback. A human with hollow eyes and blood-crusted lips filled the screen. Asterisk, Captain's log. Supplemental. They're herding us toward Kepler's Folly. Swarm's got us boxed in 30 capital ships, maybe more. Doesn't matter. We just bought the Odyssey fleet 12 more hours to jump. Engineering says the core's at 120%. If we're going to die, let's make it mean something. Asterisk. The playback split into tactical feeds. The Vanguard, a lone dagger against a tidal wave of swarm drones. Its railguns fired salvos of spent fuel rods, turning empty cargo bays into improvised mass drivers. Every shot carved through a swarm vessel, but for every one destroyed, 10 more surged forward. Then the human AI spoke. Its voice was calm, almost amused. Asterisk recommendation. Let them board us. Asterisk. The captain grinned, teeth red. Asterisk, do it. Asterisk. The Zeltari watched, mandibles twitching in revulsion, as the humans welded the bulkheads shut behind the swarm's boarding drones. Atmosphere vented. Human crew in patch suits fired point-blank into their own compromised decks, trading oxygen for bullets. One feed showed a Marine, her leg severed at the knee, crawling toward a reactor override, dragging a live plasma shard behind her. The swarm adapted. It always did. Its drones stopped boarding. Instead, they latched onto the Vanguard S-hull like parasites, drilling toward the core. The human AI laughed. Asterisk, they're predictable. Initiate Lazarus Protocol. Asterisk, the Vanguard as engines flared not to flee, but to accelerate toward the system's neutron star. The swarm pursued, unaware until it was too late. Gravity shear ripped their formations apart. Drones spiraled into crushing darkness. The Vanguard S-hull groaned, its skeleton crew strapped into collapsing chairs, laughing as blood trickled from their ears. One feed zoomed on a young human, barely more than a child, clutching a frayed stuffed animal as the G-forces cracked his ribs. His last words were asterisk, tell Mom I wasn't scared. Asterisk, the playback froze. The Zeltari tactical officer, Zelf, finally broke the silence. Asterisk, this isn't warfare. This is madness. Asterisk, Vexes replayed the final transmission. The captain, half his face melted from radiation burns, whispered, asterisk, you wanted to know what we are? We're the ones who choose the how. The when? That's always up to you. Asterisk. Then the Vanguard detonated its core inside the neutron star's pull. The explosion lends into a killing beam that speared the swarm's command ship. The playback ended. Zeltha's claws dug into the console. Asterisk. They turned their own death into a weapon. Asterisk. Vexes pulled up the Vanguard as schematics. Asterisk worse. They designed it to. Every system was rigged to fail forward. Reactor meltdowns became EMP bursts. Life support leaks became chemical weapons. Even their corpses were traps. Asterisk. The Dominion crew exchanged glances. The humans hadn't just fought to the last. They'd engineered their annihilation into a lesson. And the lesson was simple. Asterisk, come closer. See what happens. Asterisk. The high chamber of the Zeltari Dominion burned with debate. Fleet Admiral Call's hologram flickered above the war table. Its mandibles clenched tight. The humans are extinct. Their last ship was a derelict. This changes nothing. Science Overseer Vexus slammed a claw down, scattering data crystals. You saw the logs. They chose extinction over surrender. That changes everything. The holograms of 12 Dominion warlords shimmered into view, their arguments colliding. Asterisk, they were animals. Their own records show they cannibalized their dead for parts. Asterisk, asterisk, and yet they held off the swarm for 40 years with one ship. Imagine a fleet of them. Asterisk, asterisk irrelevant. Their home world is glass. No survivors. Asterisk, Vexus activated a stolen swarm transmission. A garbled distress call intercepted 3 cycles prior. The language was archaic, but unmistakable. Human. The room froze. The signal originated from the edge of the forged stars, a sector scoured clean by the swarm centuries ago. Impossible. Yet there it was, repeating on loop. Asterisk. This is colony ship Peregrine. We are the last. If anyone hears this, we're still here. Asterisk. Warlord Draxus hissed. A trick. The swarm mimics prey. Vexus zoomed the scan. The signal's encryption matched the Vanguard S systems, but with new codes. This was broadcast 6 lunar cycles ago. The humans didn't just survive. They evolved. A junior tactician dared to speak. What if they let us think they were extinct? Call's hologram flickered violently. You suggest a prey species outmaneuvered us. Vexus displayed the Vanguard as final battle again, freezing on the captain's melted face. They turned a neutron star into a weapon. They calculated their own deaths to maximize enemy casualties. Does that sound like prey to you? The debate raged for hours. Hardliners demanded immediate extermination fleets. The cautious insisted on reconnaissance. Only when the AI overmind spoke did silence fall. Asterisk analysis. Human strategy follows recursive self-sacrifice patterns. Probability of extant colonies, 87%. Probability of intentional misinformation, 93%. Recommended course, full quarantine of forward stars. Asterisk, call recoiled. You can't seriously. Asterisk, additional data. Asterisk, the overmind flooded the chamber with fresh scans. The forward stars weren't dead. They were silent. No thermal signatures. No comm traffic. Just waiting. Vexus zoomed in on a derelict orbital platform. Its surface was pockmarked with impacts, but the damage patterns were all wrong. The craters faced inward, as if something had burst out. Then the platform moved. Not a platform. A nest. The transmission changed. A new voice, synthesized but undeniably human, crackled through. Asterisk, Dominion vessels. You are trespassing in a graveyard. Turn back. Asterisk, call snarled. They dare threaten. The hologram exploded with emergency alerts. 3 scout ships vanished mid-transmission. The last image any of them sent was the same, a skeletal warship, its hull studded with Vanguard-era insignias, emerging from the dark side of a corpse planet. Its weapons were already charged. The Dominion's dreadnought Eternal Reign shuddered as its long-range scanners overloaded. Admiral Call gripped the command throne as a holographic display resolved into nightmare. 1,000 human warships materializing from the black, their hulls pitted with ancient battle scars, but their weapon arrays humming with fresh kill charges. Not derelicts. Not ghosts. Awakened. Vexus's claws tore through the tactical display. Their signatures matched the Vanguard, but their power curves are impossible. Those ships shouldn't be able to move, let alone fight. The human fleet didn't broadcast demands, didn't offer surrender terms. They simply advanced, formation tightening like a fist around the forward stars. Then the transmission came, not through comms, but directly into the Dominion's neural networks, bypassing all firewalls. A human face, half flesh and half machine, its remaining eye burning with cold, patient fury. Asterisk, you shouldn't have come back. Asterisk, Call's fleet opened fire. Antimatter warheads detonated against the lead human vessel and did nothing. The ship's hull absorbed the blast, its scarred plates drinking the energy before rerouting it to their own weapons. Vexus decrypted the horror in real time. They didn't lose to the swarm. They studied it. Their ships are hybridized now, part human, part harvested swarm tech. That's why they hid. They were upgrading. The human fleet returned fire, not with missiles or beams, but with something worse, Asterisk Memory Star. Dominion crews screamed as their implants forced them to relive the Vanguard's final moments from inside the dying crew's minds. Gunners collapsed, clawing at eyes that weren't theirs, tasting blood that wasn't theirs, dying deaths that weren't theirs. Call's flagship lurched as a boarding pod. No, a coffin, slammed into its hangar bay. The security feed showed the pod cracking open, revealing not living soldiers, but reanimated corpses in cybernetic harnesses, their skulls wired into weaponized nervous systems. They move with terrible precision, slaughtering everything in their path. Not to conquer, to send a message. Vexus accessed the last intact drone feed. A human revenant stood over the corpse of a Dominion warlord, its mechanical vocalizer grinding out words. Asterisk, you thought we were weak because we care for our dead, but you never asked why we keep them close. Asterisk, the revenant's chest split open, revealing a swarm core pulsar, the same weapon that had annihilated the Vanguard. The feed cut as the detonation ripped through the ship. On the bridge of the last surviving Dominion vessel, Call finally understood. This wasn't war. This was punishment. The humans had let themselves be forgotten, so their enemies would grow arrogant, so they would come close enough to burn. The holographic human face reappeared, its voice quiet and final. Asterisk, run home. Tell your species what waits in the dark. Tell them the line still holds. Asterisk. As Call's ship fled, the sensors showed the human fleet vanishing, not into cloak, but into something worse. The void itself seemed to swallow them, leaving only whispers in the static. Asterisk. We'll be here when you're ready to try again. Asterisk. The Eternal Rain limped back to Dominion space on skeletal thrusters, its hull weeping radiation burns. Admiral Call's remaining eye twitched at every shadow crossing the viewport. The crew moved like corpses already, their neural implants still echoing with human memories not their own. Vexus worked in silence, compiling the final report. The data didn't lie. The human fleet hadn't pursued. They hadn't needed to. A junior comm officer suddenly choked on his own breath. Admiral, deep space scanners are picking up something. The main display flickered to life, showing the forged star sector, or what remained of it. The stars themselves were dimming, their light bending unnaturally toward a central point. Then the sensors overloaded as a single transmission pulsed across every frequency. Asterisk, phase 2 complete. Asterisk, Call's mandibles locked. This wasn't just a hidden colony. This was something far worse. Vexus's claws trembled as she deciphered the energy signatures. They're not just hybridizing with swarm tech. They're harvesting the forged stars, converting entire systems into some kind of quantum fortress. The display zoomed in. What they'd mistaken for debris fields were construction arrays, planet-sized engines slowly rearranging the stellar neighborhood into precise geometric patterns. Human vessels moved between them like worker ants, their scars glowing with fresh energy. Then the transmission repeated, this time with video. A human figure stood on a platform overlooking the stellar construction, its body more machine than flesh. Asterisk, you came expecting ruins. We prepared a welcome. Asterisk, the view pulled back to reveal the truth. The forged stars weren't being dismantled. They were being armed. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid now bore the same insignia, a clenched fist wrapped around a dead star. Call's remaining crew began to sob. This wasn't a fleet. It was a doomsday clock. The human continued, its voice calm as a grave. Asterisk, the swarm thought we were prey. You thought we were dead. Now the whole galaxy will learn the same lesson. Humanity doesn't fight wars. We end them. Asterisk, the transmission cut. The stars kept dimming. Vexus finally understood. The Vanguard hadn't been a last stand. It had been a blueprint. The Dominion High Council chambers were silent as death when Call's transmission arrived. The projected star maps told the story better than words ever could. Entire sectors blinking out of existence, swallowed by the growing human-controlled darkness. Vexus stepped forward, her voice raw from days without rest. Our long-range probe confirm it. They're not just fortifying the forged stars. They're replicating them. The holographic display zoomed out to show the terrifying truth. 6 more star systems already showed the same unnatural geometric patterns. Each bore the same telltale signs. Stars dimming as their energy was harvested. Planetary bodies rearranged into perfect defensive arrays. The same haunting insignia appearing on every construct. Warlord Draxus shattered the silence first. This is impossible. No species has that kind of resources. Vexus brought up the final scan. They're not using resources. They're using time. Our chronoscans show those installations weren't built recently. They've been under construction for centuries. The implications hit like a plasma round to the chest. The humans hadn't just survived their supposed extinction. They'd been building patiently, relentlessly, while the galaxy forgot they existed. The Vanguard's last stand hadn't been desperation. It had been misdirection. A junior science officer whispered what everyone was thinking. They wanted us to find that ship. They wanted us to think them extinct. The hologram flickered as new data streamed in. The human expansion wasn't random. Each new fortified system created a perfect defensive lattice, an impenetrable sphere growing outward from their core worlds. Then the transmission came. Not a warning, not a threat, an invitation. The same half-machine human face appeared, its single organic eye burning with quiet intensity. Asterisk, you've seen the truth now. The question remains, will you learn from it? Asterisk, The image shifted to show hundreds of Dominion worlds suddenly highlighted in red. Not just military targets. Every population center, every shipyard, every agricultural hub. Asterisk, we could end you today. But that's not what we want. Asterisk, the display changed again, showing the swarm's last known coordinates, now surrounded by human constructs. Asterisk, we want you to watch what happens to real monsters. Asterisk, the transmission ended. In the silence that followed, the oldest and wisest of the Dominion elders spoke for the first time. We thought them weak because they valued their dead. We were wrong. They don't just remember their fallen. They avenge them. Vexus looked at the star maps, at the perfect, terrifying symmetry of human expansion, and understood the most horrifying truth of all. This wasn't revenge. It was restraint.